Over the past 50 years, Climatech has grown and kept pace with the ever-changing HVAC industry, providing our customers with the best knowledge on the most innovative systems and services.
Serving Lorain and western Cuyahoga counties, Climatech is a full-service heating, air conditioning, and ventilation company. A third-generation, family-owned and operated company providing the most up-to-date level of service and installation with the best quality products.
Today, your comfort demands customized solutions, utilizing best industry practice combined with high-quality, reliable products that protect you and your home.
The HVAC industry will never stand still. It's a commitment to the environment that we learn, train, and produce next-level efficient products and services.
Partnering with Green Sky Financing and our dedicated customer care software allows us to give you the comfort that you need in your home.
Smart products, smart technicians, and dedication to details drive us to deliver highly effective products into your home today and into the future.
Well, it's week 19 of the Climatech Inc. NFL Prediction Show. That means it's the Wildcard round. Playoffs have officially started. And Vince, credit to you. You had a really good week here in week 18. I did not watch really hardly any football at all. Caught some of the Jags-Titans game. Aside from that, there was really nothing from me standpoint-wise of watching anything. And I didn't have a bad week. 9-7 on the week. But again, you went 12-4. Really one of your best weeks this season. It came at the right time. You now have a 1-game advantage, and you have not held a lead since about halfway through the regular season. So it has been a long time coming, but we are still neck and neck here, Vince.
Yep, Halloween for sure. So welcome back again this week, everybody. Thanks for joining us. As you can see, things are slightly back to normal here. It's finally gone. The Barbie Castle Christmas tree's finally gone.
As of today, this afternoon.
Hey, like Cole said, though, it's been a while since I've even sniffed the lead. So glad to be here. We got 13 games to go, I believe, if I did the math correct in my head. 1 point separates us. This is the closest we've ever been going into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. We might actually have to do some research and see who had the better college picks this year, too. So, sorry. Over here hacking up a lung still. But if it comes down to that, that's going to be just a ton of fun. But this week, I have a strategy. Last week, I should have won 14-2. Did not trust my gut. Had a feeling Denver was going to beat the Chargers because I had a feeling the Chargers were going to take their foot off the gas. And I also had a really good feeling that the Lions were going to win, but didn't trust my gut. Paid for it. Still up 1. Love this feeling. Was down 4 after Christmas. So just kind of crazy, but let's get to it, man. I'm excited. And the AFC lines up exactly the way I thought it would. Mm-hmm. The NFC, I have no idea who I'm going to pick. I mean, I already made my picks, but what I'm saying is long range. I think the NFC is a crapshoot. And we'll get to that in a bit, why I feel that way.
Yeah, and I'll be honest and very straightforward. We always know that in this round especially, there are always some upsets that happen. But I'm going to say right away, and this is going to give away some of my picks, I had a hard time going down the list and feeling confident about any game where I felt this underdog might be able to win it. Am I confident that they're going to win it? No, not really. And we'll touch on those games here in a little bit. Let's start off with the first one.
I mean, we will, but I'll say that about the AFC, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Not to give away my picks, but you know who my top 4 are in the AFC. And 3 of them are playing this week.
So we'll start with the first one. Saturday at 4:30, and that is the San Francisco 49ers up against the Seattle Seahawks. Geno Smith and the Seahawks sneaking in. They can thank the Detroit Lions for getting the win over the Green Bay Packers. And when Jameson Williams went up to Aaron Rodgers and asked for his jersey, Aaron said, "I'm going to keep this one." Is that a sign that that was the last game for Aaron Rodgers in a Packers jersey, and he knew that, and he wanted to keep that jersey? I don't know. Time will tell. That will certainly be part of the speculation, but let's jump to Geno Smith, the guy who has had a really good year, and now he's going up against Brock Purdy, who has done an excellent job standing in for Trey Lance and Jimmy G, and that offense just continues to tick the way that they play football. The defense is good. I know you said the NFC is a crapshoot, Vince, but the 49ers at 13-4 have been on a run. Can they be beaten by the division rival in the Seahawks?
every team in the NFC has a chink to them. And as we make these picks the next couple weeks, you will see why I say that. I mean, first of all, how many could the 49ers win in a row? This is unbelievable at this point. They're a system team. I think this proves it with Brock Purdy playing the way he has. It's a system. They will win this week. I'm sticking with the momentum. I'm gonna take the 49ers here. But if there was ever a game where no one sees it coming, this would be it. It would not stun me one bit if this pick falls flat and I fall flat on my face taking the 49ers. I'm doing it because of defense. With him being a rookie quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant, as they call him, they don't need him to win the game, though, because they have the running game that they have. They're deep on defense. They're deep on offense. And there's not a lot of reasons I'm going to give you other than how good that defense has been. What scares me is Pete Carroll is a really good coach. I feel like a broken robot or whatever the saying is at this point.
Broken records. Yeah. Not a robot.
Sorry, man. I don't think I've slept in about a week. It's been kind of crazy over here. But regardless, the Seahawks are well coached. They're disciplined. But boy, what it boils down to me is the best defense in the NFL, if not a top 3 defense in the NFL, against Geno Smith. I'm going to take that defense. Going to go with the Niners.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers, and I look at the whole NFC, and I think that the 49ers might be the best, most well-rounded team. Now, if Jalen Hurts gets back with the Eagles and he's back to full health again, then they certainly are in that conversation and competing there with the 49ers. Honestly, the whole thing aligns for Dallas maybe to be in a position to make a run to the Super Bowl. But Dallas, It's hard to believe, in them because they choke every single year. And we'll touch on Dallas here a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
So every team in the NFC has their questions. Hey, the Vikings with their great record, but we think they're the biggest frauds with their 13 and 4 record themselves.
Yeah.
So this is certainly a game where I looked at this and I thought, can the Seahawks win this? I think they have the ability to. The 49ers defense is by far and away better than the Seahawks defense. The Seahawks are putting some nice pieces together. I like some of the moves that they made in the offseason. I think Geno Smith's played great. And I really think that, honestly, give Geno Smith the full offseason this upcoming year to really prep for the upcoming year. Put good pieces around him. Don't worry about quarterback until maybe the following year after that. I think Geno could lead you back to the playoffs if you continue to give him more and more weapons next season. But I think this is going to be their last game of the season. I think that offense runs well enough with McCaffrey and that run game and the way that they play, even with Brock Purdy at quarterback. It's proof that the way they play, it really doesn't matter who's at quarterback. They can be successful. Whether you bring in Aaron Rodgers next year, whether you bring in Tom Brady, whether you bring in whatever veteran quarterback it is that you want to bring in, if you're the 49ers, I think that could take them to maybe the next level where they continue to operate that offense well. But it'd be a great story to see Brock Purdy make it to the Super Bowl. That's for sure. And it's certainly possible. I think the 49ers, they take care of business. I have them winning 34-20. They're a good enough team to do it. I think they'll handle the Seahawks in this game. But the Seahawks do have the ability to make things interesting. I just believe in the 49ers not making mistakes and just being a well-coached, disciplined team, the team that we have seen for quite a while in Shanahan's system. I expect to see much more of that.
With the exception of Tampa Bay and the Giants, I have 5 teams I can tell you in the NFC that I can make a case for who could win the Super Bowl. But at the same time, none of those are airtight. The most talented football team on paper, and we'll talk about them here in a second, is the Dallas Cowboys. But they've never done it since the Dak Prescott era has begun. I don't even know if Mike McCarthy's won a playoff game. It's been nuts. So we will see as we go. But yeah, off to a rip-roaring start here.
As we move to Saturday, still at 8:15, so the second game of Saturday, it's the Chargers and the Jaguars. Now, Jacksonville, they beat the Titans to win the division. They had an incredible second half of the year with their young talent, Lawrence was stepping it up. ETN was looking good. We talked about their defense. And Doug Peterson seems like he's the coach to really help that team produce, get them into the right position, in the right spot. Watch out for Jacksonville next season. Now they're coming up against a Chargers team that's really a team that Vince and I deem one of the 4 best, really, not only in the AFC, but they certainly could be up there in that top 5 conversation in the NFL talent-wise when they're fully back and healthy. Joey Bosa's back. That's huge for their defense. They have pieces back on the defense that is crucial, and they're still more of a high-scoring offensive team. Have they been fantastic running the ball? No. Eckler's had some really nice games, but holes really haven't opened up for him because of their issues with injuries on the offensive line. It's been more of getting the ball in Eckler's hands through the air, screens, just getting him out on routes and finding him. And now that Keenan Allen's been back and you have Mike Williams, the offense has been cruising a whole lot better. Justin Herbert is an excellent quarterback. I just admire the way he plays football. I love watching the Chargers play. Aside from the Browns, probably the Bills and the Chargers are my 2 favorite teams over the last few years to watch play football. Love the way that offense moves. This is the game in the AFC where I thought an upset could happen, though. Because the Chargers, a team like the Dallas Cowboys, when they do make it to the playoffs or right at the end of the season, they have a tendency to choke. As much as I like the Chargers, Brandon Staley, I don't fully trust him with some of his game management things that he does. Little bit Stefanski-esque at times in some of the ways he might mismanage the game just a little bit. Maybe there's potential there. I do believe there's absolutely potential there, but I still think he's learning as a head coach. That's why I think Doug Peterson and Jacksonville actually really stand a chance in this game and possibly could pull off the upset. But because of the talent discrepancy, and I think the experience that the Chargers have on the roster, that's why I'm going with the Chargers in this game. I'm positive you're going with the Chargers. I thought about taking Jacksonville here because I figured this is a way to make up a game since I'm now down 1. But I couldn't risk it because I really like the way the Chargers play football. And if they play a complete game and they're coached properly, they'll win it. It's just a question of will they actually handle that well. Time will tell.
I agree. The problem here is that the Chargers have the advantage in every single area except one, which is the most important one when you get to the playoffs, and that is coaching. Mm-hmm. I, too, am picking the Chargers because I am stubborn, and I want to see my top 4 AFC teams. I've been preaching since the cows come home. These are my top 4 AFC teams. I want to see them in the second round, which again kind of gives away my other 2 picks coming up. But they might be outcoached. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Jacksonville proved it this past weekend. Tennessee had them beat. Tennessee almost had them beat with a second to third string quarterback in Josh Dobbs. Jacksonville looked god awful, and they got one big time play at the end of the game. Their talent isn't quite there yet. Again, I love Doug Peterson as their coach. That being said, though, I think they're maybe 1 or 2 years away from really competing to be perennially the best team in that division because we don't know what the Colts are going to be doing here, and it's kind of a mess.
Yeah,
all the way around. Texans won't be good for years probably, so just kind of looking at that, though. But, yeah, this one to me, I'm not going to put any money on it. I don't anyways, but if I was a gambler, I'd steer clear of this one, but I am going to pick the Chargers if talent prevails.
Well, the beautiful thing for the Cleveland Browns is next season they have the AFC South. So we talked about Jacksonville's really the only team trending upwards. The Titans, they're trending down. The Texans, they've kind of been what they have been. Again, they're just trying to look to the draft, see what they can do. And the Colts, they haven't been that good either. Again, they're going to try to put some pieces together. Maybe they can improve before next season. But regardless, again, the Browns, they get the AFC South on the schedule, so that could be crucial for them next season, really help them out. If they could win 3 or, maybe even all 4 of those games, that is huge for their chances next year. Of course, later in the spring, we'll know about the full schedule. Looking to Sunday at 1 o'clock, the early game on Sunday, and that is the Bills and the Dolphins. And it's just funny how the AFC aligned where you have a bunch of division matchups. Actually, the whole playoffs in general. You have a lot of division matchups. Here with the Bills and the Dolphins just, they have been on a skid. They managed to get a very close win against the Jets, a Jets team that was having a skid of their own. And the Dolphins snuck in, but they're falling apart. And the Bills certainly not falling apart. They rallied around the Damar Hamlin thing as well. Crazy thing is how it always just works out and how it was just fate of, the opening kickoff, Naheem Hines takes it to the house. Last time the Bills had an opening kickoff return, first play of the game was 3 years and 3 months prior to that game. So it was all about that number 3, of course, Damar Hamlin's number. And that team, they're rolling, they're rallying. It gives them another rally cry. It gives them more incentive to continue to push on and win. And it's already a team that I look at as my favorite to win the Super Bowl. The Buffalo Bills are going to run around the Miami Dolphins, or shall we say circle the wagons. They're going to throttle them and advance.
Yeah. Steelers should be in the playoffs over Miami. I know it comes on the tiebreakers and conference and everything else, but Pittsburgh's a much better team. I think they actually would have gave Buffalo a much closer game. This is going to be a boat race. I'd say Buffalo by at least 2 to 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, that one's easy enough. I knew we'd both be on the same page. Now, this next game, this is one where I'm going to see what you say here first, but
Sure.
The Vikings, and this is at 4:30 on Sunday. Here it is. It's the Vikings who,
I hate this game.
Yeah, honestly, very, very,
Very.
that was the best way to say this is deceiving. Their record is really good. They've won a lot of close games. They've been kind of the cardiac kids of this season of winning really close matchups and coming back from behind, and just having fortunate things happen for them. You think about the Bills game that they won and the craziness of that game. So the Vikings going up against the Giants, and the Giants, a team nobody really expected to do what they did this season, and now here we are. I know that this is one where I had a tough time picking it. How did you feel about this one, Vince?
This tough part with this game. The Giants just lost a few weeks ago to the Vikings, I think at Christmas Eve, in a game where they should have won. The Vikings have not looked impressive at all this year. There was a game a few weeks ago it was on a Saturday. I'm at North Ridgeville High School covering girls basketball. The guys behind me are like, it's 10-0 Colts. It's 17-0 Colts. Holy cow, it's 30-0 Colts over Minnesota. And I'm like, what? I'm like, by the time the game got over, I drove home before the Browns game could start that night. The Colts had blown it and put it all the way in overtime with the Vikings. I have no idea because Brian Daboll, a guy the Browns could have had as their coach about 6 different times in the last 10 years, clearly knows what he's doing. He's got these guys motivated. They are such an underdog mentality team, right? Every time I pick against them this year, it comes back to bite me. Picked them both times against Washington. One was a tie, one was a loss for me. I can't seem to pick the Giants correctly all season long. I am steering clear of them. Minnesota, yeah, they scared the daylights out of me too. But in this situation, because I have a hunch I know where you're going, I'm going to stick with Minnesota. And if this is the game that brings us to a tie, I can live with that. So I'm going to go with the Vikings. And I can already tell the look on your face, man. I got a weird feeling you're going Giants.
Yeah, no, I wanted to go Giants here, and this is where I said I had a hard time picking underdogs. Okay. I don't trust Daniel Jones. Brian Daboll's a new head coach. So this is his really first experience here with this Giants team here in the playoffs. And my thinking was this: even if the Giants get up on the Vikings, somehow the Vikings have been able to pull off wins. Is it a Vikings team that I think makes it to the Super Bowl? Do they have a chance of winning the Super Bowl? No, absolutely not. But it's still a Kirk Cousins-led team. And what have we seen? We've seen the Minnesota Miracle, and we've seen a lot of different things happen where the Vikings come away with late game wins, even in the last decade. And that's in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. They really haven't done much past that. So I think this is still the Vikings' time where they step up. They at least win this game. I think Justin Jefferson actually has a decent game. I think that the offense at least does enough that they get by the Giants here, because I think the Giants are still maybe the worst team out of the entire NFC here in the playoffs. So that I think is the problem. Again, they had one of the easiest schedules in the entire NFL. Because of the schedule that helped them get some wins. And they played better than I expected. But again, don't be fooled by the record of the Giants here. As bad as the Buccaneers have been, as much as we talk poorly about the Vikings and other teams have holes, I think the Giants, they're the weak link of the entire playoffs.
So I'm going to throw this out there. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I want to mention this about the Giants. Truth be told, I turned 41 in, I think, 4 days, whatever it is, Saturday. So I've been around for a while, folks.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants are the best team in NFL history that no one talks about. And let me explain to you why I feel this way, okay? Late 80s, I'm a little boy, little tot Vincenzo over there, watching Phil Simms lead them to a Super Bowl victory, okay? And I was young. We're talking probably kindergarten, first grade at the most. A few years go by, we moved to North Olmsted, 1990 into 91. There's the Giants again. Jeff Hostetler, the Super Bowl. Scott Norwood, wide right, no one sees it's coming. 2 Giants Super Bowls in my lifetime, Super Bowl victories. Fast forward to 2007, Patriots go 16-0 in the regular season, win their both playoff games, 18-0, into the Super Bowl against the Giants. Here comes Eli Manning. I'm still living at home at this point. This is right before I moved out of my parents' house. Sitting there with Emily, sitting there with my parents. By golly, the Giants win the Super Bowl. Nobody sees it's coming. That's 3. Then finally, right after me and Emily got married, so you see how the phases of Vince's life, by the way. But anyways, get married to Emily. It's our first Super Bowl as man and wife. We're watching it. Who do they beat yet again? Tom Brady and the Patriots. 4 Super Bowls for the Giants. That being said, they have not won a Super Bowl since I've been a father. They're due. They've won a Super Bowl all 4 decades. They're due now that Maggie and Madeline are around. Me as a daddy, a 5th Super Bowl for the Giants. It wouldn't shock me. That's how this brain thinks, by the way, Cole. If you've ever wanted to step into my brain for 2 seconds, those are the idiotic things I think about.
Well, they're due at some point, but Eli Manning and Daniel Jones are very different quarterbacks. And Eli Manning,
those Eli Manning teams never had Saquon Barkley either.
No, that's true.
They had Thunder and Lightning and all that stuff. Yeah, well, we'll see. I just think it's funny because, again, everyone wants to talk about the Steelers, the Patriots and the Niners and the Cowboys, all those dynasties, and I agree. But honestly, since I've been alive, it's the Giants so many times.
Yeah, no, that's true. They have come away with some big wins, especially when people have not expected it. Now, looking at the next game, again, it's another division matchup. This is the Sunday nightcap at 8:15. Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens, they just played each other. They're going to play each other again. And I'm just going to put it this way. Joe Burrow, the Bengals, they've been on a different level than the Ravens here as of late, because the Ravens, they've had issues with their quarterback situation. Again, it hasn't been Lamar Jackson. Tyler Huntley, I think Anthony Brown was in here over this past weekend. Now, their run defense, since Roquan Smith has joined the team, has been a top 3 run defense in the NFL. That's been huge. But can you stop Joe Burrow is going to be the question. Marlon Humphrey has not allowed a touchdown really throughout the entire regular season coming his way, but he can't defend the whole field. There's still plenty of good receivers that Cincinnati has at their disposal. So I think they get it done. They're one of the hottest teams coming into this game. I think back-to-back weeks, they beat the Baltimore Ravens. They advance.
Yeah, I think the talent level of because I'm going to put the Chargers right in the middle until they show me they could do it. Okay, so the Chargers are right there in the middle. But if you look at the talent level of the 1, 2, and 3 seeds in the AFC, night and day compared to the talent level of 5, 6, and 7. And you're going to see it. Well, I should say 4 because of Jacksonville, but regardless, I just think that there's no stopping Cincinnati right now. When they play Buffalo next week, my God, is that going to be a game? So I hope that's on a Saturday night primetime. I really do, because I think that'd be amazing. I mean, it's unbelievable, right? Like you said, now Lamar Jackson coming back because you would have to believe he's going to.
Mm-hmm.
How rusty will he be? He hasn't played in a while. I still feel that he's up there. I know, my God, if we had the conversation a million times back in the old Podbean days, we used to talk about this constantly. But and that seems like ages ago right now.
It
But I
does.
still think Lamar, I almost said Sterling, shout out to him. Lamar Jackson, I still think he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Discussion for a different day, as we always say. But yeah, Cincinnati.
So we turn to the last game, and this is Monday at 8:15. And the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers face off. And this Buccaneers team, they're just fortunate they had, honestly, the worst division in football. Got to say, Houston and Indy might have had worse records in general to what you saw from Carolina and New Orleans and Atlanta. But I still think that all around, because of how Jacksonville performed at the end of the year, I still think Tennessee wasn't that bad of a team. They were just down to no Tannehill, and it was a matter of, does Malik Willis or Joshua Dobbs give us the best chance? They were dealing with their own issues of guys who were injured, and they just decided not to play in Week 17. So I just think the NFC South was the worst division in football, but it was the AFC South and NFC South giving each other a run for their money. The Buccaneers, though, things were just falling off. The wheels were falling off the wagons before the season started. There were injuries to their offensive line. And then Tom Brady was having to release the ball faster than he ever has had to in his career. And he's already been a guy that wants to get the ball out of his hands as fast as possible. He needed to get out in like 2 or 3 seconds this year. It was just one of those things where the protection was not there. Their defense didn't perform to the same level. Their defense is still good. It's been a lot of low-scoring games, but their problem is, even when the defense has performed well enough, the offense just hasn't done enough. They couldn't really run the ball. Leonard Fournette, so quiet, did nothing this year. Rashad White, the rookie, he's gotten to step up and play a little bit more. But they're not a dominant team in any sense of the form at all. Now you're going up against the Dallas Cowboys team, where I said that because of the weaknesses and what we've seen, and even the Eagles, who really are coming in looking like the best team in the NFC, they started to choke at the end of the season. You and I talked about it. So everything lays out for Dallas to probably go and get to the Super Bowl. But we know every time Dallas gets to the playoffs in recent memory, they choke. They can't win in the playoffs. So that's where this game is. I don't know what's going to happen. You have Tom Brady, who is the experience, and he always seems to win when it gets to the playoffs. And he seems to get favorable calls that go his team's way as well. Will that overcome the Cowboys, or should the major talent discrepancy, the major form discrepancy with how well the Cowboys have played this season compared to the Buccaneers, should that overcome in this game? I'm going to say that it does. I'm going to say that the Cowboys, finally, they get a win in the playoffs. They advance past this round. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I'm not holding my breath here. Again, this is one where I was tempted to take the Buccaneers, even though I don't think they're going to make it very far, just because I thought Dallas, their luck just hasn't been there. But all streaks have to come to an end, right? They have to win at some point. And I think this is one of their best opportunities ever to win, going up against this Bucs team specifically.
Last night, great game between the Packers and the Lions, and we saw Aaron Rodgers, perhaps for the final time as a Packer. It was emotional for everybody involved. Get ready for that same scene Monday night in Tampa Bay, as I believe this is it for Tom Brady. I think the game's going to be a blowout, quite frankly. I see Dallas winning big, and Tom Brady walking off the field perhaps for the final time. I think Dallas, you would hope, okay, this is one of the most talented teams they've had in the last decade. If they can't win with this bunch, it just might not happen, but they're so damn good. CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, I still feel they're the most talented team. Jalen Hurts or not, I feel they're the most talented team in the NFC, and it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. If I continue to pick them the rest of the playoffs, a lot of it is going to depend on how they look this week, because this is a Tampa Bay team that is terrible. Christmas night, Tampa Bay barely beat Arizona. I'm sitting there watching it with my nephew. I'm like, this game's garbage, and that game stunk.
Yeah.
And Tampa Bay, excuse me, I get choked up talking about it. No, I'm teasing. Tampa Bay is bad. So unless, and you made me laugh because it's true, unless the referees have a lot to do with this and Tampa Bay somehow gets one ridiculous call after another, don't be shocked if that happens.
Yeah.
I think because we've seen it, I think that's it. So we picked 6 for 6. Had to do this one last thing, folks. Hold on. Ernie Kozar, what were you thinking? Placing that bet, my friend. If you watch this show, which you probably do, because who wouldn't watch this show? What were you thinking, man? Cole, I know you've been busy all weekend, but I'm sure you've heard that you've got a few minutes here. Did you hear what happened?
Yeah, I know about it. It was the night of sports betting becoming legal, and this is actually a thing where it's just so funny. So many places were trying to get in the first official bet, and they were having parties and stuff. I mean, I believe it was either John. It was one of the famous Cincinnati baseball players. I feel like it was like Pete Rose down there.
Pete Rose.
They thought he placed the first official bet down in Cincinnati. Up here in Cleveland, they thought Bernie Kosar placed the first official bet. It was just a thing where everybody was trying to get the first official one in. It was from a famous sports personality, and Bernie, I don't think it was probably crossing his mind that he technically has that show, so he's technically employed by the Cleveland Browns in the NFL rules. I think he was invited to do that and put that bet in. And funny enough, bet doesn't pan out, so loses money on that bet and then doesn't get to be on the broadcast for that. But I honestly think it was just a one game thing. It's nothing too big. It's not like it was Calvin Ridley's situation where he's a player and currently betting on games. The NFL is not going to take it that seriously. They just made the Cleveland Browns uphold the rules of the NFL. But yeah, no, that's pretty straightforward. And it's actually, speaking of calls too, we were talking about, where Tom Brady gets favorable calls. How about, I did see at least this clip, Deshaun Watson pulled down by his face mask, no call. Just
referee stand right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so interesting when they pick and choose to make calls. I mean, we have the ability here with all the camera angles at this point in this era to correct things and make the correct calls. I mean, it's blatantly obvious. So there's always a little bit that's going on in the league that makes you scratch your head a little bit.
There's always a lot of that. Roughing the passer blows my mind to this day. That drives me nuts. The roughing the passer calls. What is roughing the passer? What isn't? We talked about a lot about targeting last week on last week's show for sure. So,
right.
I mean, I actually look forward to this time in the year, not only because of the playoffs, but I just get excited. I think about all the good things coming our way with NFL draft, March Madness, the MAC tournament that comes here. So many different things. So, wanted to throw this out there as we close the show. Excuse me, again, before Cole takes us home. Each week I'll have a different water bottle, or maybe sometimes the same one, and they usually have a logo on it, like this one has NXT or whatever. But when we think about sponsorships here at Keon Sports, I wanted to mention this because this is important. It doesn't take me that long at all to put on a T-shirt with your company's name on it, or a polo shirt, as you saw Cole do last year for our draft coverage, or like I said, a coffee mug or a water mug. Very easily I could put your company's logo on this water mug or coffee mug every single week, and every time I go to take a sip, they're learning about whatever company, Jaworski Meats or Spins Bowl or whatever you want to do. So think about that. My email address, coachvin14@yahoo.com. We're always taking sponsorship leads, creative stuff like that. A lot of you guys out there follow me on Facebook. A long running joke. I started doing it years ago for fun, and then it just became this this thing, between me and Cole and Dahmer and Brandon about we are live from wherever I'm at. I started doing it because I used to broadcast the games with Cole, and before that I used to do it with Ruben Rodriguez and stuff. So that's how I would start the thing, so people would know to tune in or whatever. And when I switched to writing, I still did it. So Dahmer and Cole and Brandon and truth behind the show, these are some of the closest people in my life. they give me grief and tease me about it, but Spins Bowl is now the new official sponsor of the We Are Live Facebook status. So even though that makes us all chuckle because
we are live from the park. Yeah.
But it just shows you how creative we could be. And I just wanted to throw that out there. I mean, Cole's a pretty good looking guy. He's always in good shape. Hair's always combed nice. No matter how many push-ups I do or try to lose weight or whatever it is, like I gotta be next to this guy every week. It's hell. He's that handsome. So anyways, think about him, right? So put something on him, put your logo on him, whatever you guys want to do. We're always happy to help. Again, my email address, coachvin14@yahoo.com. If you don't like me and you want to talk to Cole instead, I know he will talk to you. Cole, what is your email address before you take us home?
Yeah, ColeMcDaniel2910@gmail.com. Feel free to reach out to me as well. We'd both be happy to talk to you guys about sponsorships. Hey, it's a great opportunity. Right now is the heart of sponsorship season. And really, hey, I know you're going to laugh. Having a hard time getting that word out for some reason right now.
Freudian slip, but you're good. No.
but right now is the time where, again, it's discounted. If you want to hop in now, okay? Yeah. Now, yes, there's time to still hop in. We're talking about even in the summer before football season, or you want to hop in at some point later in the year. You are always welcome to reach out to us and be a part of this, especially before we get to football season. But right now is when you can take advantage of discounted prices on sponsorships before we get later in the year. And there we go. I got the word out that time. So, last thing, if you want to reach out to us as well, let us know who you want to be the defensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Joe Woods officially gone, and if you want to suggest anybody, I don't think you can get much worse candidates at defensive coordinator than what the Browns just had. So a lot of things going on and a lot more for us to talk about as we start to hit the offseason, but playoffs still our main focus right now. For everybody out there, have a great night. We'll be back with you here very soon.
Climatech is a full-service company. We install as well as service both residential and commercial products. We service furnaces, air conditioners, heat pumps, boilers, mini split systems, tankless hot water. We've got a good group of technicians that have been developed into a company culture that delivers a good degree of confidence to the customer and gives us a good product output. They want to take care of the customer and make sure that the customer is satisfied with their service. And when you've got non-stressed employees at your home, you're going to get a greater result from that service call or from that installation. Our customer needs, comfort, and health are of utmost importance, and we strive to provide that to every customer within their budget. As we continue to grow, we remain focused on maintaining our high level of customer satisfaction. When you hire Climatech, you're hiring a whole team of experts that have been in the business well over 80 years. If you're looking for a new install, if you're looking for just maintenance on your equipment, we are the company of your choice.